In this episode, I was super thankful to be joined by Detech, who jumped in at the last minute to cover this weekend's show slot. Detech is somebody who probably needs no introduction, having been an extremely successful and widely respected Upland community member for several years now, particularly surrounding his insane skills and level of attention to detail in his 3D user-generated content creation. Detech has won numerous 3D asset construction competitions over the years. He has dozens of map assets, structure ornaments, karts, and wearables available in Upland as we speak. And he was, of course, the winner of the Creator of the Year award as part of Genesis Week 2024. Beyond all that, though, he is also a husband, a father, a master entertainer, and a widely skilled home renovator, all of which I personally respect and appreciate, on top of his jaw-dropping blender skills. I managed to drag him away from all of that for a while today, and of course from the finalised creation of his Ivory Rising building series he's currently working on for winning the Upland Genesis Design Challenge 2024. We talked about all of that, of course, as well as his insights and opinions on a range of contemporary Upland topics and events, and I hope you enjoy this chat as much as I did. Who knows how far you'll travel and where you'll find yourself if, like Detech, you're willing to invest your time and your efforts on the countless opportunities and the finer details available for you to discover and explore in the Metaverse and beyond.
Warning, the information and opinions within solely the views of the individuals involved contains content not suitable for anyone.
G'day, and thank you very much, and welcome back to another episode of the Metaverse and Beyond podcast. This week we are having a chat with Detech. How are you going this afternoon for you, sir?
Good. This afternoon for me.
Ready to go. Yes. Just a few things from the get-go. Detech's in Canada. I'm in Australia. That's quite a bit of a distance, so there may be a bit of laggy stuff. Detech's on his phone. I'm on my son's old crappy laptop, so anything could happen, and it probably will. So bear with us. Now, the last time I spoke with you was pretty much every single day, but I mean, as far as an official capacity thing goes, I had a look before actually. Spoke to you, interestingly enough, 2 years ago on the Wine and Cheese Show was the first time, and then 1 year ago on the Wine and Cheese Show, the second time, and now here we are the third time a year later. So 2 years ago, we had a chat for 1 hour, 14 minutes and 47 seconds. A year ago, we broke that by 3 seconds. So we'll try and beat the record today. We'll try and get to 1 hour and 14 minutes and 53 seconds. Here we go. See how we go. What do you reckon?
Awesome. I still remember that first time you guys interviewed me. I was like, what are you interviewing me for? I didn't do anything yet.
Well, what about the first time where More Cheese had set it all up for you to be interviewed, and I completely forgot, and I was peacefully sleeping, and oh boy, not good. Yes. So I thank you very much for jumping in at the last minute. I did have somebody else booked for this slot, but had some family stuff coming up, so I reached out to you, and because there's a lot going on that I'd like to get your take on, and I know you're a super busy man with what you've got going on, but yes, very much appreciate you jumping in for a bit of a quick chat today. All right, there's a few generally sort of uplandy news things to touch on, to cover. I'd like to get your insights into those, because people probably don't know, you and I chat pretty regularly, like almost every other day, or if not every day, but mostly about not upland stuff. It's always family and home renovation porn.
Home repairs.
Yes, we're sending each other home renovation pictures and oohing and ahhing over each other's projects and shuddering and whatnot. So what did you say the other day? I said, oh, I'm off to the hardware store. And you said, oh, that's the place that vacuums out all our money, but we love going back there, or something like that. Yeah.
During COVID, my wife actually fell in love with the hardware store, because it was a place you could go and walk around, just because there's nowhere else you could go. But you could go to like grocery and hardware. So we'd go to Home Depot and we'd be like, people were walking. So, but it gets annoying, because sometimes you have to go every day.
Yes. Yeah, I got to go there today. What do I got to get? I got to get 10 sleepers for a retaining wall, about 7 metal posts, some bags of concrete, All while
Me too. I'm going right after the conversation.
Me too. Yeah. It's going to be a bit awkward today. I'm all freshly tattooed and I've got Glad wrap all wrapped around me. So I'll be going there like a chicken salad. All right. Pretty much. Well, before we got kicked off, you said you happened to jump over to BitGet and you managed to get yourself a little bit of a bag of Sparklet. How did you go with the whole? Well, first of all, you're Canadian, so you didn't have any problems accessing or the site.
Apparently, it's just one province. I think Alberta doesn't allow it, but the rest they allow it. To me, it's a bit weird that nobody from US can use it, even though like the game has the base is like US players. But anyway, so I got lucky, but I figured it out too late. So now I can't transfer my Spark to Upland because it'll take to BitGet because it'll take a few days. I could have sparked for more, but what I figured is the staking Spark is a lot less than if you actually get their coin of the BitGet coins and you stake those. So I bought both, and I messed up both times. I calculated everything perfectly. There's a 500 minimum. So first time I transferred to USD, I bought 492. So I needed,
no.
and it's a minimum of $20. And then I did the same thing with the BitGet coins. You need 50. And when I bought it, it was 49.8. And I was like, no. So I did twice, so I got a little more. I did the minimum, but I calculated that you might get up to like 5 Spark by staking minimum 50 the BitGet coins.
BitGet,
which are like $50 American, I think, or 60. So it's not bad if that happens.
5,000 Sparklet, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still,
Yeah. Especially with the building and the construction and that, I'm still trying to.
Yeah.
I put up some buildings the other day, and I was like, okay, what's the minimum here? It's not 0.5 anymore. It's whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
So a bit of a tricky process that, and then of course, if you're buying from your bank account or your credit card straight into that too, there's fees every time you do that as well. So ouch. Yes, something to keep in mind. And then of course you also got to keep enough there for when you do want to move it out back into Upland. There's fees associated with it as well. So yes.
And I think staking their coins, it's safer because people say, like after this whole thing ends with the staking, that the Sparklet might drop, but their coin is more stable, so you can always take it out, get the free Spark, and
Absolutely. Yes. All right. Let's have a look at what the current Sparklet price is doing. So we're kind of settled out at the 0.043. It's jumped up here, there, and everywhere a little bit. Yes. Not doing too bad. And if we look at the actual chart over at HTX, I had a look before when I pulled this up. It was 11 million 24-hour volume or something like that, which is that's a lot of money.
Yeah. And people stake like 5 million BitGet coins. It looks. I forgot. I haven't checked, but there's a lot, and I was like, "Wow, that's a lot of money in there." But I guess people want the free coins.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
I was hoping, like when I looked at it, I was hoping it's probably people from this. From BitGet doing it, and then maybe they'll enter Upland with all that Spark later. So it'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing, isn't it? It's a free airdrop situation, which is part of Upland going crypto, fully crypto. Is that you're jumping into the wild west with the crypto roller coaster, and there will be people from the crypto community that just look to not take advantage of, but just make the most out of the opportunity that's there. They'll get as much as they can, and if they get it for free, it's really no skin off their nose what they sell it for. It's essentially free magical internet money. So
I'm hoping if it goes really low to get a lot of Spark, because especially like for the past 2 years, I've been really starved for Spark because didn't have much time to hunt, so it was like every Spark was like so And now it's just like spark everywhere.
Well, how do you feel with that? Like, I know some people in the community, kind of like yourself, they take that as a positive, something that they can now sort of catch up. There's a lot of people, and I can feel their frustrations. Like, people have put hundreds, thousands of hours into grinding out treasure hunts over
Mhm.
years and years and years, and then suddenly Sparklet's just been dished out here, there, and everywhere.
So I hunted since London, and I hunted 10 or 12 spark myself, which was, to
Yes.
me, it's like it was super hard because it's taking away from Blender, from all the other things you do, because you have to be focused. And then it was only on your phone, so it was taking away from sleep. And now I just stopped hunting. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do to, but like, why hunt when you can get a spark for $40? Like, it just, I'd rather just buy one if I need. Also, there's what people, I think people who don't produce don't realize that you only need so much spark to be able to produce. Like, with 20 spark, I'm pretty much free to do what I want now. With 5 spark, it was really hard. It was slow, right? But once you go past 20, everything is just extra. You can build stuff, right? But I'm thinking people who have like 100 plus spark is just, you'd be building like 10 buildings at a time or 5, and at a certain point it starts losing value because there isn't much else you can do with them. It's like people
Yeah.
were joking, what does Abdullah do with his 1,000 spark? Does he stake a new building every couple of minutes?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's that whole process where you got to wait 3 minutes between doing anything with your spark balance. Now, it used to be that you could cancel some spark and then immediately put it
Mhm.
up, but now every single transaction with the sparklet takes the 3 minutes. Yeah, so
Oh my
it's a
god.
lot to do there. Yeah, I guess it's a bit different now. Like back in the early Summer Aquatics days, the Spark Hour was like all of our earlier stuff. It takes way longer to build all that than all of this new stuff.
Yep.
So, there's advantages and disadvantages of being first at things.
What do you do with all your new spark?
Yeah, well, when I got that, I got 59,000 sparklet in that first airdrop that came through. It was like, oh crap, what am I going to do with this?
That's
I,
more than
I
I had
am
for the past 3 years.
double, more than double. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
essentially tripled my spark balance. I am currently building or manufacturing a bunch of the Christmas spirals in the Samurai Aquatics factory, but the
Mhm.
factory floor is almost full again. Like, how many times have I sworn I'm never going to let this happen again? Well, I've let it happen again. It's chock a block full, and I keep
Yep.
looking at it thinking, look, I got to move all these things. So I didn't want to put any more into there. Um, so I just put up some more buildings. Some of these old collection properties that I'm holding on to in Manhattan, I've put up a bunch of Manhattan buildings, and I'm currently doing some of the special ones in Tokyo and here, there, and everywhere.
You got a lot of showrooms to move to.
Yes, and I just bought two new showroom properties in Paris and
Oh,
another one in the other neighborhood. So yeah, and I still have to go back and apply for the Washington. It's one of those things. I cracked the seal when I said I'm going to have a showroom in every city. I kind of feel like I need to keep up with that now. I don't want to get to the point where I'm going to have a showroom in every city except for Paris and
yeah.
Amsterdam and Sydney, and yeah, I mean,
I spoke to
yeah,
Lily recently, and she was really upset that her factories are full and she has to move all these stuff. I was like, yep, yep, that's Ben. That's what he's been doing the whole time.
yeah. Well, maybe, and I should say too, the chat I'm having with Detech today is going to be a little bit different to the usual ones where we dive into the guest's backstory and the history, how you found Upland and blah blah. Because as I showed before, we've already chatted previously 2 times and we've kind of covered all that. So if you do want to find out more about Detech and his journey into Upland and whatnot, I will link those 2 chats in the description. Worth going back and checking those out as well. So um, I'll just jump over here and we'll share this one because we're kind of talking about it. So why not? Where am I? So what do I need to get to? Oh, now this is on my. The audio's suddenly lagging out. Apologies. And especially when I zoom into LA, it's going to lag out big time. So we'll do what we can.
That's because you're in
Where's LA?
space.
That's it there.
Like
Now
you're flying in space. That's why we're
you're up
lagging.
here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Detech's football, Detech's NFTs. Where are you? You're around here somewhere.
You're right here. Yeah.
Here. Now you're somebody
This is
who
the place.
you not only move the assets. Go ahead.
This is the
must have
place where
3D turned off
I
from
spend
the
most of the
CBD.
time in Upland. Moving stuff and.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, look at this. You're not just moving stuff. You're creating art.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I'm just moving stuff, it's just so boring that I have to. It takes twice as long this way, but at least I feel like I'm doing something. So.
Yeah. As opposed to the where's the Samurai Critics one? It's down here somewhere, isn't it?
Yep. Right
down
next
here.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, check out that one. I was
doing it all.
Yeah.
Oh, which one? This one.
Below, go. No, zoom out a little bit. To the left, I started building a thing a little higher. Up. More
here.
up.
No, that's Jesus.
Cheese,
one.
up above, right
wow,
there.
Look at this. Whoa. That's cool.
That's all the stuff I had to move from that property. You remember there was a picture of my head? I wanted to build a factory. First I moved everything to the side, and then I still couldn't build because I have to move everything off the property. And I was like, and then I moved it here and did that. But yeah, and then I keep putting stuff there and try to add.
Gosh, the hours alone, just looking at that, the hours involved there is kind of insane. But yeah, I started being real careful and trying to set it all up nice and neat, but in the end, I just dumping them wherever they land. That'll do. Don't got time.
This
So
became such it became such a nice hub because there's other people, starting meta ventures there, so it became like a little a group place.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, we kind of covered Sparklet. Oh, how did you go with the current airdrop series? I know you completely missed out on the first airdrop series that you were kicking yourself.
Oh no, they actually sent it to me later.
Oh, they did.
They sent it later, yeah. So it was good.
Oh, that's good. And how are you going with this second one?
Same thing. Like it's I just started doing it because somebody told me like, okay, there's like a few days left to stake, and I was like, and now it's too late to transfer Spark, I guess, from Upland. So I was like, because I still can't find, like, because we moved, I can't find information of my like MetaMask wallet and all that stuff. It's all somewhere in some box, and I have to find it, and I don't want to start a new one. So no moving yet.
I had to. Now I'm giving it away here, but I had to dig my MetaMask passwords out from the backyard.
Really?
Yes, I get that from my father. When I was growing up,
wow.
I remember my dad. One of the earliest memories I have, I was probably 3 or 4 years old. I remember being in the backyard and just hearing my dad swearing his head off, like with a shovel, digging around all in the backyard. He was trying to find he must have had some bills or something to pay, and he had a Milo tin buried in the backyard with some money in it. So I've definitely inherited his genes.
Oh my god!
So, yeah. So that's I had to
do
go and find it.
You keep a treasure map?
Well, I know where it is, of course, and my eldest son Bodhi, he knows where it is as the backup plan, and of course Maya knows where it is. But yeah, there was some other stuff that I was trying to get as well, and I was looking for it. Where I thought it wasn't exactly where it was, and I started to panic. And I'm thinking, "Geez, I'm so much like my dad." I'm just having flashbacks, that brought back all of those memories.
Wow,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yes, through the generations, and then of course my kids are watching me out there doing the same thing, so they're probably thinking, "Well, that's something they're going to do in the future too." So, who knows? All right, so. Now, I guess if people don't know, if they're come out the woodwork, you are somebody who is just massively involved in the whole UGC content creator. I mean, you do it all, the structures, the ornaments, the map assets, the wearables, everything. Very interested to get your take on the current state of things with these special Paris buildings that we have. This first one has just become available. You can
Yeah,
now build these, I think, for a limited time only. What do you think about these?
I like these two. It just feels the yellow one doesn't feel very Paris. But
I
other than
guess it's
that,
going for a cottage feel, isn't it? An old Paris cottage feel or something like that.
well, I mean, oh, that one's tall. Oh, they have some tall buildings.
Yeah.
I like that one.
So
They're
that's
okay. Like
small
they're
tenants.
Upland style, so like I have no comments. This one's unique. The box one, little box one.
That's I know you're always very kind with your words. That just looks freaking absolutely terrible. I'll put it. That's dog poo. And not to
Maybe for like it's different neighborhoods, right? So in that sense, I actually don't mind it, just as long as but the thing is, the more I create, the more I understand why UGC has an opportunity to make things much more detailed, much more.
Yep.
Because every little detail you add, it adds a lot of time on how much is gonna take. Like these buildings for Genesis that I'm making are just so complex in terms of like how many arches there are and everything.
Yep.
And I kept thinking like if somebody in Upland was making this and they take this much longer, it probably get you can make like 10 buildings, other buildings at this
Yeah.
speed.
Well, I guess that's part of my, like, I'm not involved in the process, but from an
Mhm.
external perspective, that's part of my frustrations, I guess. I mean, I look at something like that, and I know that you and several of the other content creators, and even Swally Man, who's only recently picked up Blender, he's only been doing it for about a month. He could knock that out in, or yourself could probably knock that out in what, 15, 20 minutes, maybe?
Well, the thing is with me, which what I'm frustrated with is I'm probably the slowest creator in terms of Blender. Like, because I keep talking to
Yep.
other people, and there's people who can make. I'm not going to name any names, but they can make 3 carts in a couple of
Mm,
days,
mm.
and it just it looks good too. It's not like it came out crap. It's good. It's just I want to push things to the limits. I want to learn how to
Yep.
make industry standard. So I would
Mm.
sit there and figure out how to get the most detail out of the UV maps and everything. So my card took me a month to make, of evenings,
Yep.
not like all day, right? Obviously, if this was my work, I'd be spending a lot more time and doing it faster. But
Yep.
I keep getting frustrated because it's been 2 months and I'm doing 8 buildings and I'm still not finished. And I keep thinking like it's just so slow. Like I go everything step by step, right? Don't skip anything. And it's like I don't want to make it faster. You know what I mean? Because in a way, this is what feels like it's my advantage because
Yep.
very simple things you can knock out with AI now.
Yep.
So it makes it stand out when it's like detailed and good. And I always want to like kind of push the limits. Same like I want to try new stuff. Like when Upland announces new stuff, like the wearables, the carts, I'm the first guy doing it because I want to learn all these new things. And it sort of paid off so far. Not financially, but paid off in terms of like the experience I got and the attention and people like the stuff I make. So
Yeah, it's your stuff, even from the very earliest days, has always stood out for the attention to detail and the level of detail you put into it. Like I said, knowing you as well as I do, I reckon you could probably knock that basic building up in 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, then you'd spend 100 hours or more agonizing over every little detail and fleshing it
yeah.
out and making it something truly unique. So I guess I've talked about this previously, but part of my frustration with this sort of stuff is why aren't they putting this sort of work? Obviously, yes, Upland's a business and they can't afford to pay designers, hundreds of hours to put a couple of buildings together. But there's dozens of people in the community now, UGC content creators, that will put those hours in if given the opportunity. They'd love to have their unique structures put into the game. Why do you think Upland's not leveraging that more? Like a month or more, maybe 2 months before a city release that they know is coming up. What I guess they can't really give it away too early. They can't say to
Yeah.
the UC content creators, "Hey, we're going to do Paris. Can you do some buildings?" Because that's going to leak out for sure. But
Yep.
I wish they would look to the community and give the community more opportunities to take a lot of that work off their hands because the community would love it.
What the thing? I think they're sort of doing it with this UGC project. I'm feeling like it might be the pilot, because later on they could actually take every UGC creator that they think their stuff matches what they want in Upland and let them build their neighborhood. They'll give so much creativity, diversity in terms of like different kind of architecture, and I don't know if they're going that way, but they are going into blueprints, and we've been waiting for this a long time. And I'm really hoping that some of my old buildings that didn't win in competitions could go into blueprints. It's just that will be a game changer, because somebody could buy a unique building and build it somewhere, right? And it's gonna be amazing if that happens. I'm sort of missing out. This is another thing with I won a competition and I'm spending 2 months doing this while blueprints are coming out, all this other stuff that I'm missing out. And the saddest part was when Spark went live on the exchange, and I got the five Spark reward already, and I'm just sitting there like, there goes my reward value from down so much, and I'm still working for the past 2 months, and anyways. But
yeah, you're talking about you won that competition and you were awarded 5 Spark. Yeah, I guess that's been an interesting point through all of that UGC content creator process as well. Like in some cases, people or Upland would put up for sale like 1,000 or more of the designs, and then I know there was, what was it? It was one of those ones where you won 5 or 6 out of the 8 or whatever it was, and then but suddenly there was only 100 available or to sell, or there was
so
very very low mint numbers.
the first competition, which I just started making, I started making building first models during the first master builders, and I lost everything, but I tried. And then there was a competition for the first Genesis, and I think Jack won with the UFO, right? And then there was, I forgot his name, the Russian guy, Retry 88, and he won a few designs, and they made, I think he got like $40,000 out of it, out of the design that he won,
or something.
And he was selling off for cheap just to get it to USD. I was talking to them. I was like, stop, to build factories. But in a way, with the events later that happened, and Russian players got kind of banned, so he would have been very upset with me if he stayed. But at that moment, I was like, that's just too much. You can't give this much to. And the next competition was the Rio Carnival, and I was like, this is my theme. I'm going all out because I want to win some, right? And I won 5 out of 8. One got lost, and one lost, and one design got lost. But 5 out of 8 won, and altogether it became about 6 million. And I was able to build that first base, hub in LA, which you already showed. But one of the buildings, for example, the micro building, was only 100 copies, and it amounted to 500,000 UPX price, right? and it was so tiny comparing to all these other prizes, because it was like, but why? Like, you put in just as much work to make it a micro house design, right? But because the other ones will sell like 1,000 and this one sells 100, or it was such a little amount. You're like, it's it's not really fair, and nobody kind of goes for these designs later because they calculate kind of how much it is. So
Yes. Yeah, I might be able to show that. I'll just bring that up now.
yeah.
Yeah, that's. And then
I
I know
made a
you were on the hunt because just because you created those doesn't mean you can get them. So I know you were on the hunt to go back and trying to source some to be able to buy yourself.
yeah. Yeah, the first ones were
Yes.
like that. Yeah, I was spending a lot of money to get my own designs. Like about a
This
quarter of the winnings. Yeah, that's the one. It's Micro House.
Yeah. I mean that's what I said. Like Upland puts out this
Hmm.
basic building design, and then you just take it to the next level. I mean, the level of detail is just crazy, especially you zoom in and whatnot. So, yes.
Oh, it's if you're having fun, right? Like when people ask like, how do I get stuff done in Blender? It's like if you love it
Yep.
and you'll put in the time, then you'll be good. But a lot of people, like, it's not something you can go, like, how to explain it. Like, it's not something you can do really quickly to make some money. You have to put in, like, you have to love it. Otherwise, it gets very, very frustrating.
Yeah, of
Oh, I was
course.
gonna say,
And I, yep.
I made a post in UGC recently because you know how they're gonna be compensating, I think, hunters as well for how much you got Spark, and people who bought Spark get
Yeah.
compensated. So I made a post about UGC winners, right? Master builders, because that's you earned that Spark. I think it should also be increased in the same way, because I don't know, just like the people who
Yeah, well,
hunted
that
and bought
makes
it.
sense. Well, it is earned. It's very much earned, isn't it? So, yeah, I agree with that sentiment. So, hopefully, they take that on board. Absolutely.
and just to explain how hard it was to earn Spark for people in UGC. For Detroit, there were 17 buildings fully complete. 17 people spent hours designing and finishing up that building, and only one of them got one Spark, right? So everybody else
Mm.
got nothing. It's much harder. Like, hunting is much easier to get Spark than UGC. People kind of
Yeah.
do it for the badge and for the.
But I think you kind of mentioned this before. I think for the people that used to, well, maybe they still do, put hundreds of hours into treasure hunting, and how do I say this? For a long time, the kind of backbone that was supporting the upland economy was collection swapping that was happening. So that was kind of creating a lot of the free UPEX in the community that was, then going on to minting cities and buying collections and secondary
Yep.
purchases and yada, yada, yada. That kind of became a very difficult process. So people stopped doing that and they leveraged more into treasure hunting. Um, in the early days, people were treasure hunting not so much for the UPX itself, but it was about getting that spark balance that they could then rent out. And then we've seen and then that whole ecosystem of building a treasure web and all of that sort of stuff propped up their markets as well. Like
Yep.
that was the reason people would go into new city releases and mint 100 properties or buy properties in all of the
Hmm.
neighborhoods on the secondary markets. With Sparklet now being available as a crypto that you can essentially buy for a tenth of the price that it was once valued at, um, I can see that that's pretty much the nail in the coffin for treasure hunting as well, unless they come up with some other new fantastical mechanic. Yeah, how do
Yep.
you feel about that ongoing evolution as well?
That's exactly how I feel. Like, I built a web in London. It's all still there. I haven't sold it, but I just stopped hunting. And then slowly I built one up in Santa Clara. And now I'm not going to
Mm.
hunt because there's no incentive. In a way, I'm kind of happy because I never wanted to hunt. and a lot of people in the UGC they can't stand hunting because we're spending the time in Blender creating things. So in a way, now everybody's kind of UGC. I think is more happy because they can get the spark they need to start their factory. That they need. A lot of people didn't have 5. People who were in the game for a long time, and I kind of pressured myself into doing it, and I was happy. So I got to, and now I'm at 20 spark, which is to me insane. I never thought I'd be there. And again, buying a spark for $450 was very, very expensive. Very expensive for somebody just entering or. So in a way, that's good. It's really good for new UGC users who are getting in. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna do with the hunting. Maybe some other prizes or something. Because I don't know if they're gonna start giving more.
Yeah, could be. Maybe they'll up the UpX amount, or maybe it'll be STEM, or maybe they'll. Well, we do know that there's a whole rebalancing coming with all of these spark hours, and maybe 5,000 sparklet as the minimum for a factory isn't going to be the case anymore. Maybe it's going to be 50,000. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's all coming. So yeah, I know. Elslack and Swali in their podcast were saying if you do want to be involved in UGC content creation, well, get your 5 spark now, apply for your factory, get all of that base work stuff done before this rebalancing comes in. Even if you don't have any plans to do it for a year, get it all done now while you have a window of opportunity.
But I just wanted to say I bought some spark at the exchange, and it gave a complete different feeling about Upland now. It's like on the next level, right? It's the actual crypto, and you can sell it if you need. It's such a different. I don't know how to say it, but it's good. I like it. I like where it's going, but as you said, there's going to be a lot of rebalancing and changing. But we're used to it. If you're part of Upland, you know how fast and furious it changes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean if you were looking previously at that $460 price for 1 spark, that's a lot of money. Or the flip side is, as I said, hundreds of hours of treasure hunting. Well, now, at least at the present, the reality is I've got 6 boxes of recyclable cans. If I go down to the recycle station and cash those in, I could get a whole bunch of sparklet for. I haven't really done anything. I've used about $4 worth of petrol and some time out of my day.
Yep. So I'm actually hoping to grab some spark. I don't know where it's going, but I guess maybe it's also like a phantom pain. Like you always needed more spark. So you kind of got that extra spark, but I didn't. So I'm sitting there like, don't want to lose that moment when it's not.
Yeah, that secondary airdrop's supposed to be coming through at some stage. I mentioned on the podcast I did on Thursday night that I kind of found it a bit weird that there's been such a big gap between the airdrop for the buyers and the earners. I don't know what the delay is there. I haven't seen any cause or reason that's been said for that. Maybe they're trying to work out the rate, because we did get told that there was going to be a lower rate for the people who earned it rather than who bought it. I know that's upset quite a few people. I mean, it would have been nice if it just had been a flat fee across the board, because the people who didn't buy it, they've still invested, like I said, hundreds, thousands of hours.
Yep. And exactly. I don't feel as bad because I actually used that spark to build items, build factories, and sell stuff, right? But some people who are just hunting, they I don't think they made back like the time, the value of that time they spent. And again, I hunted like an hour there, half an hour there. Like I didn't go crazy, but I know some people that just went like in a year to 40 spark, and it's like, what do you do? Like 8 hours a day? Like people went crazy with that.
I mean, it goes to what you just said there. before with how quickly things change. And this goes way back to, the first talk of business plans. I submitted my business proposal for Samurai Aquatics, which was all going to be about in-ground pools and garden ponds and different rarities for, okay, you're going to have a red koi in your pond, or the more, exclusive or ultra rare is a golden koi in your pond.
Yeah.
A year later, we find out, well, your business is approved, but no, you can't do in-ground pools and you can't do anything living. So,
Yeah.
it's all through the history, there has been these kind of situations where everything gets turned on its head. Even neighborhood ratings, like we knew neighborhood ratings was going to be a thing, neighborhood collections was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Upland Development United was born kind of based on that principle. All of the countless hours put in for that, the tens of millions of UPEX spent on construction, and then neighborhood ratings comes out, and none of that means anything. You would have been better off not building anything and then starting from the process.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always changing.
And I was gonna say, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
There's just
you
so
can
much,
only
so much stuff.
you can only play with the information you have available at the
Mhm.
time. That's all you can really do.
Absolutely.
That's what I've learned. Yeah. So there's a lot
I
going
sorry,
on there
I
to
lost.
follow
I had two
UGC.
things I wanted to add, and then by the time you finished, I'm already thinking about neighborhoods and how much like time you put into all these buildings. And yeah,
Yes.
back then it was much harder to build, and it was
Oh, yeah.
so expensive to rent Spark.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yes. I do tend to ramble on. So if something pops in your head, just tell me to shut up and
Oh
have your say.
yes,
I know.
one of the things that is new to me right now is with the airdrops. They got us into X. I had an X account for since 2010, but I've never actually used it. It was like auto linked to my Flickr. It was posting pictures, and all the other social media is sort of dead to me. Like I don't go on Facebook. There's nobody I talk to. Right? Telegram is like 2, 3 people. Instagram, you post pictures. Some people, and then X just kind of in the past 2 weeks kind of blew my mind
Mm.
because it feels like everything is going. At first, I remember I complained to. There's just like everything from unacceptable pictures, that your kid could see if you're an ex, to that kind of sort of filtered out now somehow. But there's just so much going on there, and every time I go there, I try to post about like what I'm doing, designs, and uh, it just like it overwhelms me with all the information because it's like politics, everything's there. And because so many people from Upland subscribed, like not subscribed, followed me, I actually have like a reach. Like in my Discord, I have people who are in the community, and then I can reach out to all the other Uplanders because there's like 800 people signed up to me, and feels like about 500 are active. And it's just
Yes.
such a game changer. Like I bought a X Premium now, and I don't know. I'm sort of discovering because it felt like I was like in my box,
Yep.
and all of a sudden I can see what other people are doing because in Discord I have like hundreds of these servers, and you don't go to every server to see what everybody's doing, right?
Yes. That's a good
It
point.
just
Yep.
takes too long. And on Twitter, everybody's kind of, is like they say, oh, we have a raffle there, right? You go to their server or something new, they post, and I actually start to get a feel of what's going on in the UGC because there's so many creations, right? Every day
Yep.
I'm seeing something new, and it's. I think that move to Twitter really kind of to X shifted everything a little bit, and I'm
Yeah.
enjoying that part.
Yeah, I've been saying for the longest time, if you're not over there and involved in the community there, you really are kind of missing out on something because you're right. There's so much. Well, there's a lot of stuff that I share over there that I don't necessarily share in any of the discords or whatever. So yeah,
Mhm.
I love it. I've been in part of that community in X for 15 years or something. I saw recently you found one of my old accounts and knocked on my
Yeah,
door. I replied to you yesterday. So yeah, yeah, I love it over there. It can be. it can be very bad. Like I won't open X and look at it if I'm at the doctor's office or if I'm at work on my lunch break, because you
Yeah.
just never know what you're going to see. Um, but yes, you definitely, if you are in the Upland community, you should be on there, whether it be for the airdrop or whatnot. There's just a lot going on. Absolutely. How have you found? Because essentially, Upland is trying to make the in-game chat kind of
Hmm.
like that, a feature. I've tried to use the in-game chat as much as possible, try to get involved in it, but it is so restrictive. Like in the Midtown Terrace channel, for example, like I'm doing all these current events and prizes and things with the Midtown Terrace residents, but I can't upload pictures. I can't upload links. If I say one silly word, the whole post gets deleted, and I get frustrated
Really?
and I don't use it. So it's
Oh,
yeah, they want it to be like X, but it's a long way away.
I didn't know that posts can get deleted. Wow. But the thing is, I I'm really frustrated with in-game chat because every time I keep forgetting because after you play for so many years, it's very hard to. You always wanted to chat, and now you're
Yeah,
like, oh, there's a chat, right? Every time I go in, there's a
yeah.
whole bunch of messages, and why don't I have like a blinking thing pop up when I have a new message?
Mm,
Somewhere on my Upland screen, you have to actually click the messages and then you'll see it. And that really frustrates me because some people, I go in, some people messaged me a week ago,
mm,
right? And other people, like you message them and they don't check because they don't even know they have a message. That's what's
yes.
really bugging me. I just add like a little red flashing or something dot for people. Like,
Well, you get one red dot down the bottom, but there's I don't know if it's just my account, but it seems to be glitched where it always shows that you have one chat, but you go in there and there's nothing. And
yeah.
also too, it doesn't, it's not fully updated. Like if you want to see, like if I post something and I want to see has anybody commented or reacted to this, it won't
Mhm.
show that unless I click on my feed again later, and then it populates,
Mhm.
how many people have replied or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there.
But it's a good. I was actually surprised that they added feeds and everything. I was like, wow, it's much more advanced than I ever expected it to be. Because but it's kind of cool that you can post what's going on in your account. So
Yes.
I've used it a few times. Not for events or anything, because it feels to me a lot of new players are there, but a lot of the like base players that are in my Discord, I know that most of them are not reading chat yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the very first basic functions, and there's a lot more to come, hopefully. Because yeah, I would love to use it a lot more, but yeah, if I can't even post links and stuff like that, how useful is it really? Yeah.
It is extremely useful though, because before you find someone you want to like potions. Where I got heavy into that first potion uh,
Yes.
thing. You actually can message the person who has a potion. And what I did at a certain point, and I messaged everybody who had the level 3 potions. And throughout the 2 weeks, half of them reached out to me. Some in 2 weeks, some, and it was like, wow, you can actually message someone now that about something. There's one property in Brooklyn that I wanted to buy for 2 years, and now I actually
Mm.
message the person. So sometime if he ever logs in, he can actually see that there's somebody interested. There's the
Yes,
chat.
absolutely. So we're just looking at that there now. So at the moment, it shows that I've got no updates. So I'll click on my feed and we'll see if that populates anything. No, sometimes that will then
Mhm.
change to 6, and you look at it, and then people have commented blah blah blah. But yeah, I've been using the chat function like as part of the Midtown Terrace giveaways. I've had a few people like Bloodless and Bogdansky reach out and say, "Hey, why'd you send me the UpX?" Like these are people that aren't fully
Yeah.
engaged in the game, but now because of the
Yeah.
chat feature, it's making it a bit more easy to get involved. But yeah, as far as like for the specific channels, like because I'm a Midtown Terrace resident, I
Mhm.
am available here to use the Midtown Terrace chat. But yeah, you can't. There's no option here to attach a picture, or if I try to put a link in here to anything, the post gets deleted. So yeah,
Well,
that's kind of my biggest frustration there. I would love to use. I'm trying to do more and more in Mid-10 Terrace, but I just cannot. The in-game chat is essentially useless for it.
yeah.
So that's a bit frustrating.
I also hope they later on make the chat like a split screen, so you have your Upland and your chat here, not like
Mm.
pop up, so you have to close it. I'd have that chat open all the time and use it like twice as much if it was like that, just because it would be like part of the game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's developing like slowly, but it's changing and changing. Anyways, I was actually like when I went to Genesis, it was my first time.
Mm.
I actually never realized how big Upland was as a company.
Yes.
I thought it was like a small. I don't know why, but it was like, wow, there's so many people involved in all sorts of different directions. So it's cool.
Yes. All right. Well, there's a few things you mentioned there that we'll go back and touch on, and then we will get to your Genesis Week story, because that's a hell of a story. Just even you being able to get there, what a mission! But you mentioned totems, and you were somebody who dived right into that whole potions leveling up thing. Maybe you could speak about how you went during that first potion totem period with feeding them and all that, and then your journey into all the FOMO you went through to get your, what did you get, a golden, what was
Golden,
it, a
yeah,
golden what?
golden goat, and
Yeah.
it's one level below being top, meaning
Nice.
it's like 1, 1, 1, 2 kind of thing.
Nice.
So
Cool.
it's like one of the best totems. Which to me, really, my first cycle, I had mostly orange totems, and I timed them wrong. So one of the feats had to be at night, at 2 a.m. or at like 6 a.m. So I timed myself and actually ruined my sleep schedule for that.
You can't say you ruined your sleep schedule. You don't have a sleep schedule. You don't freaking
no, but
sleep
to me,
forever.
I either go to sleep late and wake up early, and here it was like either I have to be really late going to sleep or wake up really
Yeah.
early. But they later told me I could have shifted a little bit. So, anyways, so I actually didn't miss a single feeding somehow, and I had 8 totems. I'm not sure how people with like 100 totems do it, like because it just.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I had fun with it, and the potions I really didn't need to upgrade my potions. Because my totems, because I was okay with the orange ones for the next, and I have mostly orange anyways. And all of a sudden, like I didn't want to buy the potions, and then I go and I see these potions for like 2K, 1K, and I was like, so next 2 weeks I just traveled all around, and I bought all the cheap potions. But then after I bought all the cheap potions, the prices went really up, and then you're like, oh my god. So I started trading things, and so that one potion, when somebody wanted to buy it for $400 from me, and I would be totally okay with giving it away, except I spent like 500 to 600 worth of dollars of stuff on it, right? Including everything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm stuck with this potion. I'm not selling it for less than I spend in all the time, talking to like 100 people getting potions. But anyways, it was fun though. Like it actually felt like you're playing the game, except
Yes.
that moment where you're like you already spent too much, but you have to keep spending. And I was like, I don't want to go into another event like that, because you're actually going against players who have comparing to you, unlimited resources. So they can just buy up all the expensive potions if they want to, and you're just like anyways. So
Yeah, you have to play within your budget for sure. Yes. All right. Well, maybe we can dive into Genesis Week, because that's we kind of touched on that a little bit, and that was, well, it was great to see. I know last year you won the, what was it?
Genesis Design Challenge as well.
Yeah, and that was for the soccer trophy, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I can
which
show
I'm
that
still
quickly.
waiting to enter the game at some
Oh,
point.
really?
I don't think it's in the game.
Oh.
No, I don't.
So that was this one here, wasn't it? World of
Yeah,
Football. Yeah, so a lot of people mistakenly thought you had won the Designer of the Year that year, but it wasn't. But this year,
no,
without a doubt. And I was interested to see. I thought it was Designer of the Year, but it's actually Creator of the Year. So I guess that's
yeah,
UGC Creator of the Year. So yeah, maybe yeah, I know it was fun to watch your journey once you got there, and some of the stuff that you went through. But you just getting to Genesis Week was quite an ordeal.
yep. With all the planning and yeah, as I said, there was 2 emergencies on the plane that turned it around, and we didn't know if we're going to fly back. And then the pilots decided that they're going to still try. So I missed the first day because of that, and it was a moment where like I couldn't even get another flight because I'd missed everything. So, but it was great. It was a surreal experience because you meet all these people you speak to for years, for like 2 years now, and then like everybody never saw each other except for people who went last time, and you're like, hey, I'm this, you're this, and you realize the whole place of people, right? And you're trying to memorize everybody. It's a wonderful lifetime experience because you don't usually hang out with so many people you don't know, and then you meet them like that. So it is a very
Yeah,
interesting experience.
yeah, you don't know them, but in many cases, you know them. Must
Yes,
be a
yeah.
weird feeling.
We
Yeah.
spoke with Detech, and she said that it's interesting because how some people are exactly how they are when you speak to them, and some people are like the opposite. Like
Mm.
some people, when I saw them, I was just like, like there's one guy. I'm not gonna mention names, but we joke around, we chat, right, and it turned out to be like such a serious guy with a beard, just like like
Oh,
a
really?
businessman kind of type. And I'm just like, what? Unbelievable. But yeah,
So, yeah, you missed out on that first day and the night of the kind of what is it, the bar kind of
a
show. But
cocktail. Yeah.
then, yeah, how did you? And now you're somebody who doesn't drink as well. How did you go with being in that environment from that side of things?
There was no drunk. There was no like I didn't see any drunk people. Maybe a few,
Okay.
but it was all good. Like it was not a. There was another thing that was weird. Right beside us was a convention of
Oh, yes. S&M or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
goths or
Bondage
something
body.
like.
Yeah.
And then there was a porn festival the next day.
Yeah.
So when you're like, you sit in the lobby, you see like grandpas, grandmas going. You see like families, and all of a sudden you see like naked, almost like literally naked people walking through. You're like, or
Yes.
people with
Welcome to
spikes
Vegas.
all over.
Yeah. All right. So aside from taking out the one of the top prizes, what are some other memorable moments that kind of stood out to you as far as that journey for you?
We got to meet the actual people who work in 3D in Upland, people who don't
Yeah.
you don't speak to. Uh, very
Oh,
valuable, just
yes.
valuable experience. We were like
Yeah.
with Jack on notebook with questions and everything, and we actually got answers, and it was great.
Mm.
Just you get the actual feel where it's going, kind of after meeting some Upland people and that they value the project, and it was a great experience. Like to me, it was a changing experience because I had a completely different understanding of what Upland was. I was sort
Yeah.
of occupied with my, as you know, like I'm doing all this to learn 3D as well because that's what I really like and want to do. So I'm
Mm.
sort of like learning how to do things for a game, and every chat with people who work in the field is kind of very important to me. And at the same time, just I don't know, kind of lost my track of thought. It was exciting. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, that reminds me that you did an actual panel with Uplando, and
Yeah.
is it Who was it from the Upland team?
It was
Was it
Jason.
Jason or something?
Jason.
Yeah. And Uplando is such a well-spoken kind of professional. He really has that presenter vibe
Yeah.
and the mentality. He's absolutely brilliant at that. Um, it was a real shame for us who couldn't go that we weren't able to see any of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know actually. Like last year,
yeah,
2023, we were watching it from phones. People's recording on phones. The reason they
yeah,
said is because they had some issues with the internet in the hotel. Like they said that
yeah,
they knocked everything out in 2023 when they tried releasing a city. So this year they
yeah,
did somehow different. But yeah, there was no. And to me, during that presentation, Jason was kind of like talking. He's like to me like, say something, like talk. He's kind of hinting, but I was actually listening because they're actually talking about stuff that everybody in UGC wants to hear, right? So I was like, no, I want
yeah,
I want to hear more stuff.
yeah,
Give us more
yeah,
details.
yeah.
But it
Yes.
was great. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Yeah, and it must have been very cool as well. Like, you're a family man first and foremost, as I am myself. You have a wife that's supportive of everything you're trying to do, but from the vibe I get, doesn't really kind of understand it, or perhaps didn't really understand it. I know, my wife's been with me as part of this journey for 5 years now, where I've been talking about this thing that I do in my hobby, and why are
Yeah.
you getting up at 4 a.m. and 3 a.m. every single week and all this sort of stuff. So it must have been very cool to come home with the winner's trophy and say, look what I got.
In a way, but the difference between us is you play smart and you play financial, right? You kind of invest and you get stuff out of it. I play with my time and I don't really get that much out, right? So I told my
Well,
wife that this trophy and everything would be good if I want to get a job in 3D and this, that. And she's like, well, you could just apply and, make something not for Upland. And she's kind of
mm,
pushing it to make more complex stuff, to have a portfolio to. So, so there's that part, right? So, because it's basically my fun time because it's not making
yeah,
money, right? So it's a hobby, but it's sometimes, like right now, it's overreaching to the time that I should be spending on doing other things. Because for that
yeah,
Genesis, also because I work slow, I know that these 8 buildings, and again, they said 5 buildings. I asked for the extra buildings because I wanted to look, better and more with different
as a
buildings.
full set. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's taking a lot of time, and I sometimes don't sleep. If I don't sleep too many nights while doing it, I start. So yeah, I'm sort of hoping to finish this project and then kind of then, because it's been 2 months of like nights, working on it, to sort of reorganize myself and actually look at where I'm gonna go from here. So yeah, it's it's fun and it's something new, but hoping it's gonna be worth the time invested.
Absolutely. Now, I will just quickly just have a look at your account details as well. I'm looking at your current account balance. You have 725,000 UPX. Does that mean you didn't go to Paris?
I did. I bought one property for 450 in Notre Dame, and a
Yep.
little bit of small ones. When the minting went out when I was stuck on the highway, in
Ah,
when the police closed it down. So I
yep.
was gonna miss out, but then I was like, oh well, we're just sitting there. So I went on my phone and got a few things. But I don't want to.
So
I,
that,
I decided to stop spending everything on every new city,
yeah.
because then you're gathering and you're selling things off, and so
Yeah, well, that's a journey we've been on in DM for years too. You're like, I bought this and I want to buy this, and I'm like, but why? Yeah. So,
the, those jumps
yeah.
in my graph are when I
Yep.
won stuff in Upland.
Yes, and you've
That's
got
actual, like,
plenty of
especially the
cash to
Spark
spend.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see that graph. Maybe if I get rid of those, we can see that.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to show it because it's too low. But yes,
I don't know if you
very steady
just have the
progress in
Spark.
your chart.
Huh.
Oh, I just pressed the spike, but you got to play around with the graph. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, very steady growth. Very, very steady growth. But that's interesting. It's funny how you've taken on that mindset now where you're not going to go into city releases and spend it all, which for the longest time I was kind of at you. And now I'm going into city releases and completely blowing my budget. But
Yeah.
yeah, I spent 2 million in Paris pretty much. The majority of that I'm going to flip for USD because I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to pull it out and
Yeah.
do more renovations at home. So,
And to me, the last straw was Tokyo, when I built a whole hub in Tokyo and I spent millions on it. And nobody really buys in Tokyo because it's such an isolated, like an island. And then I thought, like, okay, I have 3-4 places where people go if they need to pick up stuff. And I decided I'm not going to be Ben. I'm not going to get a showroom in every city because I still have a few showrooms that I haven't filled.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's going to take me an hour and I need to be in Blender. So,
Yes. Yeah, I can't wait for paid transportation mechanics. I'm more than willing to spend the UPEX, spend the
yeah.
sparklets, even if I have to burn it, some way to automate that moving process. I know More Cheese for the longest time has kind of warned against, well, careful what you wish for, because that process is
Yeah.
probably going to be just as labor intensive. So hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to be able to go, what do I want to move? Click, 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 click. Click on 20, 30 things. Which
Mhm.
showroom? Okay, how much is it going to cost? Beep, bop, beep, bop. See you later. And then you
The,
get a notification 3 hours later, it's arrived.
the danger I see is the simpler they make, the more flooded stuff is going to get. So it's sort of, I kind of like, I want that whole automation, but I'm not sure how they would do it so it, balances things out. Because there will be accounts that can, there's people who put in hundreds of designs.
Yep.
There's a guy I know who makes like 6 or 7 a day, and he submits them, and it floods the whole UGC, and then he's gonna flood the market. He's gonna make all of them. They're gonna be everywhere, and the quality changes because there's some stuff getting in that's not finished, right? That's in terms of models. It's a very, like, kind of, how do you balance it? Because you want the quality, you want everything to kind of look good, and you don't want like map just filled with stuff and.
Well, I mean, we talked about that for, like, as part of all of those team meetings that we published, dozens and dozens of hours of, insights into our process, our mindset at the time. Like, we knew this was coming. We knew this flood of everything was coming. So, yeah. Hello, hello. I'm Danny, weird friend from Australia. How you going? I'll just borrow you for a little bit longer if that's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. No, that's all right. So yeah, we knew this flood was coming.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where we kind of made the commitment, like, we're just going to do what we do. We're going to stick to the quality and the pricing and all that. I guess now, and we have, I know with some of the stuff that we have subsequently released, we have dropped the prices a bit because you kind of have to. Definitely, you're seeing map assets now for a couple of hundred UPEX each. That cannot be worth the time to move all of those and whatnot.
So I actually dropped the price of my arrows. As people don't know, I only have arrows as map assets so far. But there's people who bought them in bulk, and I refunded all of them in USD or UPX, like whatever they wanted, or like gave them some other stuff extra. But I know people who came out with stuff, and I refunded. It was quite costly to me because you know, you already spent the money, right? Yeah, then you have to kind of gather it. Some people would put out one price, in a week change it, and then change it again, and it'll be like 1/10 of the price. And people are like,
Yep.
we just bought it, right? So that I really don't want that with anybody who buys stuff from me. And I notice in Upland, it's a lot of people who would value your stuff. So you have like a following of people who would are, you know, collecting, and so I want to tend to that instead of making a whole bunch of stuff and just selling it for too cheap, because it's too much effort.
Yep.
5,000 an arrow, and it's hard for me to move because
Mm.
because but I filled out like LA room, and I still have to move them to my Rio and Tokyo, and it's just, I'm like, oh my god, it's so much moving stuff. But then I remember Ben, and I'm like, you have to get get organized and do it.
Yes, as I said, my factory floor at the moment is almost full, and I've got to face that as well. Um,
And
yes,
because the factory
it's not
floor
an
is
easy
so
process.
huge, you have so much stuff to move.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a blessing and a curse, isn't it? If you have a
Yeah.
very small factory lot, you're kind of forced to move them. So yeah,
But the way I got out of it somehow is I do a lot of raffles,
yep,
and people build stuff with Spark, and
yes,
then they
the spark wrap.
pick up prizes from the factory.
Mm,
So I skip a lot of in that sense, I skip a lot of moving and selling stuff.
mm, that's smart. All right, we'll touch on a few other things, and then I'll let you go because I know you're a
Mhm.
busy man, and we both need to get to the hardware store and work on our home renovations. So, how have you gone with the evolution of gamified earnings moving into now? You have to do these missions and whatnot. We just saw the release of the sizzle season
Mhm.
earnings. What do you think about all that stuff?
I just looked at it briefly, but I realized I've been doing minimal just so I get the rating to normal. I
Yep,
wasn't doing any extra missions, as I understand. Oh wow, look at those! What are
yep.
those? Those are
So
so
these
good.
are the new
Nice.
sizzle season passes. Yeah, I must
I
have
like
closed
those.
down the link. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
we'll talk about those in a second. But yeah, as far as the missions now, where if you want your maximum UPX yield, well, now you got to work for it.
yeah. Because I've been doing just like, because you get those 5, 6 missions done in a month, no problem. So I was really happy with it. That I get my earnings. Now you have to do more, or you
Well,
actually get
it's
more
good.
earnings.
Yeah, it's good now. It used to be you do 5 and you get your regular amount,
Yeah,
or if you do the 15, or no, if you do the 12, if you do the full 12, then you get that little bit of a boost. Well, now
very
they've
little.
increased the number. Now there's 15 different missions you can do,
Hmm.
and you only need to do 12 of those to get the maximum. So, kind of covered that on Thursday's show. It's pretty well, I say easy. There's a few in there that are a bit tricky to do, but it's definitely within reach to get that maximum. Well,
Yeah,
now there's an extended maximum, but yeah, it's I like the changes that they've made to it. So that's pretty good, and
more
I think
work,
it's good.
but in a way, it's more a game. It becomes more of
Yeah,
a gameplay in a way. So
yeah. We
I
just
know a lot
need
of,
the in-game tracking. We need to be able
yeah.
to see what we've done in-game. Yeah.
I know a lot of people will be unhappy with it because they were really fine their earnings just collecting, coming in once a month, clicking a button and
Yep.
getting it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's actually Bogdansky, who I showed in chat before, who's a very old um, member of the Upland community and who
Yeah.
was in Mid Terrace very early. He won one of the prizes. I sent him the UPX. He
Hmm.
he he sent me a chat and said, "Oh, why'd you send me the UPX?" And he's like, "Oh, by the way, do you know what's happened with earnings? Why is my earnings suddenly dropped?" So
Yeah.
yeah, there's people like that are going to be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Ben, I gotta run. Sorry.
All good, mate.
Yeah.
Um, I'll let you go. On the back end, I'm going to showcase those couple of videos that you've linked to me. And
Mhm.
once again, thank you very much for your time. I don't know if we beat the record. Maybe we did. Maybe we got over the 1 hour, 14-minute mark. We see how we go.
Hopefully.
Um,
All right. Thank you.
all right, mate. All the best, buddy.
Talk to you later.
See you, mate. And I'll zoink you out of there. There we go. All right. So yes, a few other things to touch on the back end. So we kind of got a little bit of a sneaky peeky there at the Sizzly season. Let me do that there. No, I'm doing the wrong one again. This one. So this was pretty cool. And you know what? I've said for the longest time on the Upland Down Under podcast that, I'm done with buying passes, this, that, and the other thing. Well, Upland's got me this season. I did go ahead and purchase one of these passes because if you can see my block explorer, if we zoom in here somewhere, where is he? Oh, I don't know what's going on with me. I can't be found. I guess we can see it up here anyway. Currently, I've got the animated hearts buzzing around my block explorer up there. That's not very heavy metal. If you've been following X, like Detech mentioned, you would know that I'm all about that sort of stuff. So when you see passes like this and the whole thing is fire, it looks very cool, very evil. I'm all about that sort of stuff. Love it. So yes, Upland did get me for a season pass. I happened to get a common, so had no issues at all with burning that. If I had have got an exclusive or a legendary, they might have stung me for another one, like to go ahead and burn it. But I got a comment, so it was a very easy process. Now, Swally was laughing at me when we were DMing about this last night. I kind of said, like, this looks so cool. I've pretty much ponied up the US dollars so I can get this pass because I just want one animated fire kind of thing around my blocker spur. I think that'd look really cool. If I can get at least one of those, I'll be super happy and happy days, move on, everything's all good. But we do know that it doesn't, X doesn't always lead to Y. It could very much be that the passes look like this on the outside, but what we get is puppies and rainbows. Who knows what it's going to be? So he's kind of laughing at me for that. So that's all yet to be revealed. Have to wait and see. Now, as far as these passes go, when it first popped up, I thought, oh, what are these letters? Maybe it's going to spell out something, and you need to get the full words to burn the whole set to get some other thing. But, it turns out it's common, rare, exclusive, and legendary, which is kind of cool. Okay, rarity. So that assumes that there's going to be some other mechanics at play or some other benefits at play. Like if you happen to land a legendary, well, maybe your cosmetic drops, maybe it's some other legendary version of that. But when you read the actual article itself, that doesn't seem to be anything at all. It's like if you're selling commons, rares, exclusives, and legendaries, or the chance for those, it's kind of weird that there's no tied in utility or functionality with that. It's everybody's going to get the same cosmetics regardless. I mean, it's smart from a business sense. Like I said, if I only wanted one pass because that's all I wanted, if I had have got a legendary, I wouldn't have burnt that. I would have bought another one and tried to get a common to burn that. So from a business perspective, that makes a lot of sense. You're going to sell more. Basically, it's kind of a FOMO thing. But if people don't know as well, I think I was listening to, it might have been the Hyde Park Ninjas. I was watching their latest podcast, and if you happen to get a legendary, but you don't know about this and you don't know what that L is, there will be people that burn their legendaries and their exclusive, and they're going to be pretty butthurt on the back end. Now, keep in mind, Upland has a history of doing this where you buy something and the full scope of the utility or the functionality of it doesn't get revealed for a while, or in some cases like block explorers for several years later. So you could very easily see somewhere down the line where, okay, now burn, if you have the full set of these, burn it and you will qualify for, I don't know, some kind of cool blueprint, or who knows, anything could happen there. So yeah, it's good and bad in a way. Like I said, I'm not going to play with the whole gambling aspect of that. I was kind of, more than anything, I was relieved to get a common because it was just a no-brainer to burn it and qualify for the stuff, yada, yada, yada. And we did also have news just dropped before that there is now a Sizzle Ornament Challenge. These look pretty cool. Get ready. They've done these before, haven't they? Are they going to do another ornaments sale? Or is this just the regular stuff? Sizzle season ornaments. Okay, here we go. We're thrilled to introduce the latest sizzle season ornaments in Upland, inspired by this season's vibrant fantasies theme. Well, there you go. See, like I might have just utterly screwed myself buying that fast, thinking I'm going to get fire and brimstone. Well, maybe it's going to be all of this bloody magical fantasy stuff, and there will be no fire. And Swally will laugh his head off at me and poke his tongue out at me. And I will deserve it because I did say for the longest time I wasn't going to get involved. So, these look pretty cool. Price range $14 to $20. That's cool. This is what gets me. Quantity 100 to 600. Why is it so low? I guess they want to make sure that they sell out, but geez, it's frustrating. And let me guess, it's going to be registration 9 a.m. PT, sale 9 a.m. PT. So even if I do register for these, I'd have to get up at 2 a.m. to see what my place in the queue is and potentially have to stay up till 3 a.m. on what's the 7th? The 7th is a Wednesday, which is a Thursday at 2 a.m. for me on a work day. And that's, yeah, that part of it's just mind-boggling. But anyway, I've whined about that for the longest time. So what have we got? Smoldering Townhouse, Dragon Volcano. Okay, it does sound fiery. Does sound very fiery. Oh, I think that might be all the Toshak stuff, wouldn't it? I think that's what there was. Theirs was the Dragon Volcano theme. And then, of course, the artifact from Umbrella Boy. So some extra stuff going on there. All right, let me get out of there. And yeah, just before Detech left, I said we are going to have a look at some of the stuff he's working on. We'll do that now. So I'll do this as a bit of a commentary, I suppose. I've never done one of these before. I will drop the volume here. Hopefully it's not too loud for you on the back end. And if you haven't seen some of Detech stuff, as he kind of said, as we talked about, he is very much all about the finer details and whatnot. It's pretty inspirational stuff. So let's have a look here. That's his football thing. So there. This is the one that's his entire journey. This is cool. So he started off. He really didn't have a lot of experience with 3D modeling at the time. Certainly not to the specifications that Upland required. So you will see a fairly significant progression in his journey here. And you know what I like to do? I like to playback speed everything at 2x. So forgive me for that too. So maybe that's going to make the music. So I'll turn the music off. You'll have to listen to me instead. So yeah, that's what he was talking about. I'll go back. Some of these early buildings, that's what he was talking about as far as he'd love to make blueprints and go back and be able to put some of these up. There's been a lot of UGC content creators that have spent countless hours putting submissions in for the various challenges that didn't get through. So yeah, it's going to be cool to see some of those eventually filter through. Oh, that was a classic. This one, I think this is one of the ones that he did get in. Like, this is a massive, tall structure, but when it came through in Upland, it was only like they squished it all down. It was tiny. So, again, blueprints maybe allow him to go back and fix that all up. His very early Genesis Week structure ornaments he talked about. The first set of Samurai Aquatic stuff. Just think about the amount of hours that went in there as far as just the management of that, Cheese doing the textures and whatnot, and Detech, of course, all the 3D work. There's a lot of stuff shown there. A lot of those were concept images that never got around to being done. Obviously, you can pretty much guess who was all about that sort of stuff. I'd love to see that in there, but again, it's just one of those things. It's just hours and hours and hours of time. Maybe one day, eventually soon, maybe. And then he clicks over. Yeah, look at the detail on some of that work. Amazing stuff. And that they are available. You can pick those up. And we looked at that before. It shows a bit of a difference in his structure ornaments and evolution of the level attention to detail. A lot of these are in the game. That's the trophy that he won, as I said, as part of last year's Genesis Week. And yeah, Genesis 2023. I don't think a lot of these got in. Oh, no, it was this one. It was that one. That's the one there. Not that one. This one. This is the one. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, Master Builders 2023. That was a winner. But yeah, looks like a super tall structure. But when it came into the game, it's like a third of the size almost. And it had a weird compression effect when you look at that next to an apartment building, the existing apartment. All the sizes were all out of whack. I believe he got it fixed up a bit. I'm not sure. I know he wasn't very happy about it. But yes, a lot of cool designs here that aren't actually part of the game. That one is, I believe. And some of the stuff he's done for Cheese at the Pixel Palace. Some work there. And we're going to look at some more stuff that's not yet in the game, I believe, as well. I'm skipping ahead, coming up here. More Pixel Palace stuff. Yeah, this one. Lots of stuff there. And this is all the Tokyo stuff, I believe. And then, I don't know what city that was. One of the other ones. And now we're getting into wearables. If you look at my accounts, I've got one of these. I think it was an auction we did, and I don't know if I got the mint number one. I forget. This one, I love that. That's definitely my vibe. So I can't imagine I'll ever take that one off. You never know, unless some cool other outfit comes through. And then we get into some of the go-kart stuff he's done. Again, level attention to detail, not only in the construction as well, but think of if you saw the original trailer he put out for this, the countless hours he put in just to putting that together with all the music and whatnot, the effects, epic stuff. The Rebel USA flag, Rebel kart as well, just insane levels of detail. The fire version, I don't think I have one of those. The more cheese kart, that looks crazy with the money coming out the back. He's definitely somebody who goes to the next level. He was playing around with car design in the early days, I'd imagine, once that becomes available as well. And now we're showcasing some of the stuff he's working on as part of the Genesis Design Challenge winner. So this is what he's talking about he's working on now. This is what's eating up all of his sleep time. And this is part of a full set. I think he's got a different video there, so we'll skip over that a little bit. I'll jump. And this is some of the other work he's done in the community. Shout out to the Real Node LA, Fourth Wall Digital, Stadium Chasers, and then a whole bunch of bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. Portage Park stuff, and then a few one-offs, concept pieces, and whatnot. So very, very cool indeed. But we'll have a look at this one. So this is what he's currently working on now, as I said, and I'll speed this one up too. Yeah, this is going to be an insane set that's going to come into the game. Look at that. Let me go back there. That's cool. I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe these are the small townhouses, and that looks really cool how you can flip them around and they kind of mirror each other. Very cool stuff. Oh, and the townhouses do that. I didn't actually notice that till I just looked at it. Huh. The townhouse has the same deal. Interesting. And then that kind of goes with the whole vibe with the apartment building and the micro house and the factories. Now, it's a classic. When he showed me some of this early on, like you look at the factory and you go, yeah, that's cool. But when he actually zooms into it, I think he zooms into it at some stage in this video. Not only does he do attention to detail, look, he's even put you can get a glimpse into the factory and you can see mechanics and whatnot in there as well. That's just amazing stuff. Amazing indeed. So yes, keep your eyes out on that coming through at some stage, hopefully pretty soon. Let me goink out of there. And there was one more that he sent through, and this is the trailer for the Phantom Kart. Maybe I'll shut up and let this one run actually, because this is worth checking out in its entirety. Hopefully we get the volume on this. Hopefully it is for you. Very cool. Again, look at all the little attention to detail inside the thing, in the cockpit itself. Even stuff like gear handles and that he does. Fantastic. Yes, very cool indeed. All right, that's probably enough rambling on the back end from me. Thank you very much for everybody who stuck it out to this point. Make sure you go and check out what Detech's got going on. Links in the description, of course. And like I said at the start of the show, have chatted to Detech previously about his journey into the game and whatnot. The links to those will be in the description as well. So check out those if you want to find out a bit more about the amazing work of Detech. See you later.
If you have an Upland NFT or Metaverse product, service, or event to promote, or you're just someone engaged in Web3 who'd like to have a chat, send me, Ben68, a DM on Discord, or drop a YouTube comment to discuss and secure your spot.